didn't know if it was one of y'all or I didn't know either. It's hard to tell. All right, Lance, you good? All right. Questions? Preferably from the left side there. All right, we'll go Brendan first in the front row. Stefon, how's it going?
Good. How you doing? How you
Good.
doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Coach White? And obviously you've followed him to a few places now, and I guess just personally what he's like, what I guess have made you two click so much?
I mean, he always brings energy. He's a great person, and I feel like he helps everyone, and everyone learns differently, so he finds those ways that everyone learns differently and is able to help them apply what he's teaching them to football and like life in general.
Stefon, Aslan Javandi, warchant.com. Welcome to Tallahassee, man.
Thank you.
Can you size up how you feel physically? 2 years ago you had an incredible year. Last year was kind of your first year coming off of things. How do you feel, and how optimistic are you that you'll return to form?
Well, I feel great right now. Like as of right now, I feel healthy. Everything is good. I feel like I'm in a great place where I can make plays and become a great player.
All right, next will be Irish FL, second row on your right.
With the new defensive coordinator for Florida State, obviously a new system, so I'm sure the returning players probably have questions. Is what you've done in the past in this defense much different than what a school like Florida State might have done, and what kind of things have those guys been asking you in this process?
I'm sorry. Can you actually repeat that? I'm sorry.
With the new defensive system coming in, a lot of these guys probably have questions about what the new defense is going to be like. But having played in it, is there stuff you can share with them that's going to help them, or does it need to be more once practices start?
I mean, they have they're getting like a base knowledge of like the basics of it. Once they get that down packed, then they can go on to the more advanced level of things. But as of right now, everyone gets along. Everyone's learning it at a fast pace, and I think we'll be on a good pace.
All right, we'll go to Jordan, third row on your left.
Hey, Stefon, just following up on that, what makes a good 3-3-5 defense, and specifically what does a linebacker have to do in the new system?
Well, you just got to be fast, physical, and play smart. You know what to do, know how to do it, and you should make plays out there.
All right, we'll come back to Brendan, front row on your left. Do you see so when you're at Syracuse, there are times you play closer to the line of scrimmage. There's been times you've been more of a traditional linebacker, like at Nebraska last year. Do you have an idea of how you'll be used here at Florida State?
I'm really not sure right now, to be honest. Like I enjoy playing everything. I feel like I can do everything. So it just depends on the situation, the game, who we play, things like that.
Stefon, you've been obviously, as Brendan mentioned, with Coach White at Syracuse and then with him at Nebraska. What do you think is it about him in particular, or maybe the scheme that allows, like year one, things seem to click, whether it was his first year at Syracuse or his first year in Lincoln, like things really turned around really quick. What do you think is about him or what he runs that makes things easy?
Well, the message he's trying to get across is that everyone, no matter like if you mess up on a play, just do it at 100% and just be fast, physical, and violent. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to make an impact on the game.
Go back to Ira, second row on your right.
When we were talking to Coach Knighton, he was saying that Coach White is just so smart. Like, he's just got so many ideas. What's that like for a player? I mean, is he challenging you guys with new concepts all the time, or is he a really good teacher? What's that part of it like?
I mean, he might install a concept and then we'll build off of it. So he'll do it little by little. But it just all depends on what players you have and how fast they can learn what he's teaching, really. That's really it.
Come back to Jordan on your left.
Stefon, James Williams is another former teammate of yours now in Tallahassee. What's your relationship like with him, and does having a former teammate around make it easier for you to transition to a new team?
It's funny you say that. James is my dog. We joke around, laugh all the time, and we call him Sack Man. So he does a good job of what he does. But yeah, I love James. James is very funny, outgoing, and I think he's going to be great here.
Back to Brendan on the front. What has Coach White told you about, I guess, expectations for your role as someone who's been in his scheme for a while in terms of not just your play on the field, but how you teach, mentor other younger players?
Well, as I knew I was coming here, like when I knew I was going to come, it was more of like I have to step up. I have to be more of a leadership role, which I think I've been doing, and it's been like everyone gets along here. Everyone is like friendly, outgoing, and like since the first day I've been here, it's been like, dang, I've known these people for a week now, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, and it feels like I've been with them for years. So just growing up and building chemistry and just leading them and showing them the right things to do rather than the wrong things.
We'll go back to Ira on your right.
When you guys were at Nebraska, I know they built a brand new facility, and now Florida State's doing the same thing. What did that do for you guys there? How did that help you guys develop, and what are you looking forward to what this new facility is going to look like?
Yeah, the new facility that's being built is very exciting, and I think it's going to help for like today's generation and future generations going forward. I mean, like health-wise, like recovery-wise, we were able to do a lot of things like go in the hot tubs and like we had sleep beds, sleep pods, so things like that would help us recover more, and we were able to feel better while we were playing during the season and things like that nature. And then like just like equipment-wise, like lifting, like it was all new state-of-the-art, so that always helps too as well.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Stefon.
Thank you guys.
Elijah, what appealed to you about FSU, their system, and what Tony White told you during the process of transferring?
Just the culture of here, just how proudly they spoke of FSU, and just how they want to, put it back on top, build the program up. And Coach White, just his aggressiveness on defense, and just the way he thinks of the game, how he tries to use his guys, use everybody in the field to make plays.
All right, we'll stay there for Brendan. How's it going?
Good.
I guess a two-parter. Have they talked to you about like the specific position you'll play in this system? And I guess secondly, are there any similarities to what you did at Memphis as some of the success that you had there?
We talked about that a little bit, haven't got into depth about it. Any similarities to Memphis? I would say a little bit, but not too much. That's it.
All right, we'll go to Peter, second row on your left.
Hey, Elijah, you started your career at Tennessee, and you were teammates with Squirrel and Jason Jenkins. Just tell me throughout the process how you guys been communicating with each other throughout the process, and why y'all wanted to play together at Florida State.
Man, we talked about that. We've been together almost every day since we got here. So just talking about our dreams and what we want to do here at Florida State, it's most definitely made everything easier and just made the process way more funny.
All right, we'll go second row to your right for Ira.
We just talked to Stefon, and he's played in this defense before. Has he been helpful at all in terms of helping you guys kind of know what to expect a little bit from this scheme?
Yes, sir, most definitely. Stefon, a cool dude, great guy. I've been picking his brain since I got here, just trying to figure out the defense, how to make it simpler, just how to have everything click faster. But he's most definitely been a great asset.
All right, we'll go to Kurt, front row on your right.
you started at Tennessee, and last year it really broke out at Memphis. Like you had a great year, productive in a lot of ways. I guess how big was that the new spot and the new year, the chance to be productive, and I guess how much more confident do you feel coming off of that season now coming into this one?
Well, coming into that season, I wanted to show that I could be a guy. I could, be productive as I was last year, not just be a tackle dude, but also, make plays on the ball and off the ball. So just coming into a year to, just be a difference, be a difference maker on the team.
All right, next will be Jordan, third row on your left.
Hey, Elijah, obviously Florida State has a new linebackers coach this year. Just what's your relationship been like with Coach JP, and how has he helped you transition to a new team?
Coach JP, he's been great ever since I got here. Easy dude to talk to. Got a lot of connections with everything. Just somebody fun to talk to. You can get well with long, and just a great teacher.
All right, we'll come back to Brendan, front row. What have your early impressions of tour of duty been? How does it compare, contrast to maybe other places that you've been?
It's most definitely some work. They're going to get after you, make sure you push every single amount of energy into it. Just try to get 1% better off of that. So it's been a challenge, but I feel like we've been working together. The teams stay together, each group. They've been encouraging guys to make it better, so it's getting better.
We'll go back to Ira on your right.
You've gone through that recruiting process a few times now. Was Florida State a school that you watched a lot coming up? How strongly did you consider them coming out of high school, and then also, after you left Tennessee?
I've always had an eye on Florida State. Just the players that they put out and how each year they've continued to get better and just be able to come on the map more. I don't think they recruited me out of high school, but I've always been interested in being a Seminole because back at my old high school, I was a Warrior, so, they both add up. So, yes, sir.
All right, we'll go to Liam, second row on your left.
Nice to meet you, Elijah.
Nice to meet you.
Obviously, coming from Memphis, Mike Norvell has ties there with Coach Silverfield. Working with Coach Norvell, did Coach Silverfield tell you anything about him, and what has your experience in this, first month or so been with Coach Norvell?
Nah, he didn't really talk to me, Coach Silverfield. He never really talked to me about Coach Norvell. It was just mostly ball with Coach Silverfield. But just seeing Coach Norvell from these past couple weeks I've been here, he's a high energy guy. He's gonna make sure you compete, work, and just get better every day. So I really appreciate Coach Norvell.
All right, we'll go back to Jordan, third row.
Elijah, you talked about always wanting to be a Seminole, but obviously Florida State struggled last year. What gives you the confidence that Coach Norvell and this new group of transfers can kind of turn this around?
Just the intensity that they come with. Coach Norvell is coming with high intensity this year. Want things to change, won't change now, but we know that can't happen. So just day by day, 1% better. Focus on you, focus on the guys, and how you can make yourself and them better.
All right, we'll go back to Ira on your right.
You weren't playing with them last year, but the Tennessee guys you were talking about earlier, there's a lot of people. The word out of Tennessee was how good Jason Jenkins could be.
Yeah.
Did you see that in him when you were there? And what do you expect from him?
Yeah, we seen that. Really, the first day Jason stepped on campus, he was really a raw, uncut player. But he's a Jersey guy, so I imagine he was, bigger than everybody out there. So we watched this film. We was like, bro, you could be good. You just, got to tap into some stuff and just listen and develop. And day by day, Jason got better and better and better, just kept working on his craft. So we know that the sky's the limit for Jason.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Elijah.
Appreciate it.
Hey, James. Can you talk about your relationship with Coach Knighton as well as the other defensive coaches from Nebraska? I know you and Coach Knighton are pretty tight.
For sure, I'm pretty sure the relationship between me and Coach Knighton is pretty well documented at this point. I see him as a father figure and even closer to a father. You know, he's seen me go through a lot and a lot of different adversity, and the fact that he stood by me through so much going on in his personal life, like lots of different stuff that he's going through, and he incorporates me in all of that. Just means the most to me. But not even just Coach Knighton. You know, really, I have a really great relationship with Coach White as well. I feel like he's, since the moment I met him, really believed in me, and really taken the time to take care of me and make sure that I'm always taken care of. And then Coach Potenza and Coach Miguel as well. I have great relationships with them as well. I worked with Coach Potenza, Coach Jack the first time, or my first year at Nebraska when he was still with the D-line. He was with the outside linebackers last year, but he'll be returning with the D-line this year. And then Coach Miguel is obviously a linebacker coach. So just now, like, I do have a really good relationship with him. I just, you know, obviously it's not every day that I see him, so.
All right, we'll stay there for Brendan. Who came up with your nickname? And I don't know, Sack Man. I guess what do you prefer? And then who came up with it?
So that would be T Knight. The only person who ever gave themselves their own nickname would be Kobe, and I'm not Kobe also. But no, T Knight just randomly one meeting right before my first ever sack, like the first game I ever got a sack in against Northwestern. Just randomly called me Sack Man, and it just started to stick around the building. So. I guess it's merchandisable now, so.
All right, next will be Liam, second row on your left.
Can you talk about your role, especially in this 3-3-5 defense, and kind of how the adjustments need to take place? And have you been kind of, you know, talking to any of the guys who've had questions about the new system?
Yeah, for sure. I think the great thing and the genius about Coach White is that although this is a 3-3-5 defense, he's very multiple. You know, he doesn't just focus on just the 3-3-5 and sticking to it, even if it doesn't work. He is someone who sees the personnel around him and what he has and will adjust to that. If we are a faster group, he'll play a faster kind of defense. If we're a bigger group, he'll play a bigger kind of defense. He's not someone who you have to adjust to his system, although that partly is true. You know, he'll always incorporate what kind of talent he has, and I think, like, in my first couple of weeks here, experiencing like some of the talent that we have at DB and linebacker that, no offense to Nebraska, but like we may not have had there, and like the depth that we have, I think like he's going to have a lot of fun being able to play around with that and disguise coverages and you know, sub in different packages and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to Nebraska, which he was doing, but you know, we don't always have the one-for-one need at every position.
We'll go to Ira, second row on your right.
Could you kind of talk us through how they used you last year in that defense, and maybe how you expect your role to expand maybe as you guys come here?
Yeah, so I think the next step for me is growing as a player. So obviously, like my first year, I was specifically just the dime, third down, hey, like get him on the ground type guy. Would play like 10 snaps a game, just specifically on third and long. I think last year it was kind of the same deal, but it wasn't. It was a little different. Like if he would play the hot hand. We obviously had a deep group at D-line. Ty and Nash, I think, are going to be really dominant players in the NFL. I think Jamari's going to have a good year at LSU, and you know, like Kai and Vincent and all these other guys that were behind me. Like there's just so much depth. And we have a lot of good players in that room that he's like, okay, whoever's playing well at this particular time will play. So there'd be times that I would play like let's say against Colorado when we know Shador is going to try and throw the ball at Travis, right? Like I'll play predominant number of that game. But like if we're playing Ohio State and we're in the horseshoe, like that's a big moment. Why would you not want your experienced veterans like Ty, Nash, and Jamari in there? So like they would play a lot. Obviously, it's a little different this year. We're a little bit different as a group. We got a lot of young guys in the room who I think can be really talented. So I think like a lot of that is just going to be like my veteran presence helping them out. But I think it could be a lot of a similar thing. T Knight's not someone who just plays like the old guys or the seniors just because he feels obligated to. He'll play whoever's good at football.
All right, we'll go to Aslan, back row on your right.
James, you talked about Coach Knight and your guys' relationship. Are you comfortable at all talking about kind of the events that have made you into the man that you are now, and how much he's played into that? And if you're not, can you just maybe walk us through just being recruited, going to junior college, and then picking Nebraska, and then picking here?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that is like, obviously, like, I wasn't highly recruited out of high school. No one knew who I was when I first appeared on the scene. So I think a lot of that is like his belief in me, him and Coach White, just like taking a chance on me. Like, I was a kid who just showed up at a summer camp and they were like, hey, you're like, come join our Division I football program. This wasn't like I was joining the YMCA or something like that. So like that kind of belief in me, the fact that like there was like a bit of like a delay in my maturity process and like being able to like do stuff the way they want it done, and like they didn't like just bail on me, and they stood by me. And then there's also a bunch of other matters that I won't get into, but it's just like I think like the way the belief that they've always had in me, not always saying like, hey, I believe in you, but it's also like, hey, like they're not gonna hold my hand into everything, but they'll let me know like that I'm still loved, which is awesome.
All right, we'll go to Jordan, third row on your left.
James, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first time living in the South, obviously from Missouri and Iowa and Nebraska. Just what's that transition been like for you to Tallahassee as a whole, and then also just joining a new football team?
It's great, man. 70 degrees outside in the middle of January. I'm not used to that. It's also like, I mean, it snowed here, obviously, for the first time in what, like 30 years, and you guys, the entire town was shut down for 30-degree weather. So that's just like, I don't know, that's just like stuff I'm used to. Like that's just like everyday stuff in Nebraska. But it's nice. I really like it. I'm obviously gonna need to get used to the humidity in the summer. So like the fall, when we get to fall camp and we're in Jacksonville, I'm excited for that, just to be able to get used to it. Like the furthest south I've ever lived was in Oklahoma, so like obviously like the topography and the climate is going to be significantly different. But getting ready for Alabama on the 30th is my number 1 priority, and that includes being able to withstand the heat down here and just getting used to that. So although I am glad that it's 70 degrees outside in the middle of January, when it's 110 in the middle of August, I'm going to need to be ready for that. So.
All right, we'll go back to Brendan, front row. You touched on it a little bit about how your role has expanded a little bit year over year, and imagine the next step is for that to continue to expand. I guess what goes into that physically, mentally, like what do you see for yourself as the next steps for you as a player?
Obviously being a leader in the room. Like I told you guys, there's a lot of young guys in the room who I think are very talented, but obviously like experience is the biggest thing at this level. There's a reason Penn State is the odds-on favorite to win the national championship, as was Ohio State the year before and Michigan the year before. They brought back the most experience. The experience is like the biggest thing because of how changing the landscape of college football is. You're always like, you're never with the same guys. There are always going to be 15 to 20 people who come into the team every single year who are different and will leave every single year. You'll never finish with the same guys that you started off with. So I think like me being a leader in the room is probably the biggest thing, and Darryl helps a lot with that. You know, like you can tell that he's an experienced, like he already is like an NFL vet. It feels like to me, the way he carries himself, the way he works. I think like watching him and how he commands the room and commands the team. Really, I really feel like he's like one of the best team leaders. I think that's like the biggest thing for us, and that's what we need, because that was what gave us success at Nebraska. Like when Ty, who we knew would be a dominant NFL player at some point, would command the room and be like, hey, this is what we need, this is what we don't need. Like he's like, hey, we're not going 2-10 again this year. Like we're not going to let like little mistakes add up and build up.
Next will be Peter, second row on your left.
Hey, James. What would you say was the best advice from Coach Knighton or even from Coach White that really stood by you throughout being coached by them, or what the best teaching method that you really take from them by being coached by them?
I feel like it's a cliche answer, but still working hard. T. Knight's a very big advocator and like supporter of what Kobe does. You know, he's up here at 4:30 in the morning working out almost every single day, as long as he's not out recruiting. I take a lot from that. I'm someone who likes to work later on in the day, but like just making sure that like I get the extra amount of work every single day. You know, like I'm not just here to like be a recruiting face for you guys. I'm here to like dominate against Alabama. You know, like, and I want to like play. I want to like make sure like, hey, I'm not just good against Wake Forest. I'm ready for like Clemson and Miami and all those big games that we have, and Florida at the end of the year. Like making sure that my body is ready and making sure that I'm specifically ready for the entirety of the season, and just like the extra work that goes into that, I feel like is like the number one thing that he taught me, because like the amount that I do now doesn't separate me from everyone else, because everyone else is always lifting, and everyone does tour of duty, and everyone does like a couple of like running drills in the morning. Like that doesn't separate me from everyone else, and that's not like, I don't want to be like everyone else.
All right, we'll go back to Aslan in the back.
James, can you go back to that summer camp when you met Coach Knight, and like, did you know the night before, were you like, I got to get a good night's rest. This is going to be a big day for me. Like, did you realize it was going to potentially change your life? Like, how much stock did you put into that day, and when did you start playing football, and where were you in your journey at that point?
Yeah, I don't really get nervous for those kind of moments, so I don't want to say I was like nervous the night before, but I will say that like when I got there was only 2 people doing D-line drills, so it's like he's actually going to notice me, as opposed to like if you go to any other football camp in the middle of summer, there's 100 kids, like maybe he even takes a chance at noticing me. But like I think once I got there and like realized that like he actually genuinely cared, he wasn't just out there because like Coach Norvell forced him to be out there for his football camps, that way he got paid. Like I actually thought that like meant a lot to me, and like I was like, okay, well now I actually have a chance to do something with this. So but yeah, I wasn't ever nervous for it.
All right, last one will be Ira, second row on your right.
When you were at Nebraska, they unveiled that new facility. What did that do for the players? I mean, a lot of times I think fans and media think those things are just for recruiting. Was it helpful? And have you looked at what Florida State's building, and do you think that'll be helpful for you guys?
For sure. It's actually funny you asked that. The exact same time around when Steph got here to Nebraska last year, we were kind of in the same boat. It's like 1 for 1, really. Like at Florida State and Nebraska, like that first semester, that spring semester, we share the facilities with everyone else. We have like a locker room that's right next to where everyone else is. We have the same, like the nutrition staff serves all the same people, and we were in the process of building a new facility. I think when that facility got built, like things really changed inside the building. It's like, hey, now we're not just one of the sports. We're the predominant sport. And Nebraska's facility was very cutting edge. Like I know Steph told y'all they had sleeping pods, and the hot tub area, which will be really nice. But like at the same time, like I've seen some of the concept for it. Like there were different recoveries and stuff that we can get is next level, and like I think that'll really help change this season. Especially like I saw in November we have 5 games, like including one against NC State on Friday. Like those will be really important games to get like recovered and healed up for and rested for. And I think like this new facility will allow that. Just like seeing some of the concept art. Obviously, it's not done yet, but it's so funny that you say that, because it's literally just like how it was at Nebraska. Like we just got the new facility completely finished right before the last season started, and it really helped us. Like the walkthrough rooms that we were able to do, because that's Coach White's big thing, is that we want to make sure we get a lot of walkthroughs in. We want to make sure that we get a lot of extra practice in, so that way everybody, like there's no missed assignments or anything like that. And then like the different kind of like meeting rooms and stuff like that. I think it'll be a real game changer when it finally comes.
All right, thanks, James.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Brendan. Nice to meet you.
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. So can you walk us through, I guess, the process of Florida State getting involved with you as a transfer, and I guess what the pitch was to you, and what they said to you on your time on campus to make you commit?
Honestly, I was really just looking for a home, something that's going to get me to the next level. So Coach Norvell, he hit me. Coach White hit me. They said I looked like a good fit for him. They told me that just basically like, man, you got what it takes to go to the next level here. Just come here and ball for a year first.
All right, next we go with third row on your left, Jordan.
Deamontae, you started your career at Youngstown State. Did you ever believe that you'd be playing this level of college football? And then what kind of gave you that belief that you'd be able to continue to progress through Division I?
Yes, sir. Well, honestly, when I came out of high school, I was supposed to go to Cincinnati, but I was a late qualifier. I had bad grades, so they ended up passing up on me. So it was either JUCO or going to Youngstown State, and I took the scholarship to go to Youngstown State, and the rest was history.
We'll go to Liam, second row.
You kind of touched on it, but your relationship with Coach White so far, what have those conversations been like, and just working with him early on?
I mean, so far everything been good. We just been running and working out. Really no team reps or nothing. Just so it been cool. He been on the road, so really no one-on-one talk.
All right, we'll go to Ira, second row on your right.
Man, there used to be a perception that like lower level teams or mid-major teams were a different level than the Power 5 or the Power 4. But now you see all these guys go from, the Coastal Carolinas of the world to go to bigger schools and ball out. Did you always feel like the competition was as good at that level? And does it give you confidence coming up?
I wouldn't say it's the same at every level. I'll say like there's different similarities. Like I'll say in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, I say that don't change nowhere. I feel like that's the same anywhere you go. But I mean, like as far as like DBs and wide receivers, they might be a little bit twitchier, a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, but it don't change in the trenches.
All right, we'll go to Aslan, back right.
Did you play wide receiver?
I played wide receiver in high school.
Okay.
Then I went to Youngstown and played tight end and switched to defensive tackle.
Walk me through that evolution. Was it an easy sell? What convinced you to make the switch?
I mean, all my high school coaches always told me, you put your hand in the dirt, you'll make a lot of money playing defensive line. I never really listened to him. I wanted to score touchdowns. But he always told me it, and I just never listened until I got to college. And I'm like, they're making me an extra tackle. Like, I'm just blocking at tight end. So I'm like, why not go try to play defensive tackle? And I ended up liking it.
All right, we'll go to Chris right here, front row on your left.
In a 3-3-5 front, are you a guy that expects to be solely in the middle, or do you have versatility to move around?
I think I'm going to play everywhere.
All right, we'll stay here for Brendan. So you've switched positions. You've gone from FCS to G5 to now FSU. I guess that probably takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and dedication. Can you kind of walk us through the amount of change that you've gone through physically, the work that you've put in just to get to this point in your career?
I just kept grinding. Coming from Youngstown, it's a smaller school. We had a lot of talent there my year before I transferred, and I had a lot of people to look up to. They was all good. Everybody that transferred with me, they all went to a better school, Power 5, G5, just a better school than where we was at. But I'll just say I just kept grinding, just keeping my head down, just grinding, and I'm here.
All right, next will be Jordan, third row on your left.
I also read that you played basketball in high school as well. Just what type of athletic background does that help you bring on the football field, and also what was that like growing up as well?
First of all, I was a 3-sport athlete. I played baseball too growing up, but just staying active, just basically just staying sane and just I don't know. I'll just say I was just working for real, just keeping my head down. I don't know.
All right, we'll go back to Ira on your right.
2 questions. What position in baseball?
I played pitcher and I played center field, a little bit of first base.
What kind of pitcher were you?
Just fastball for real. I can hit the ball too though, but
Just a fastball.
When you were coming out this portal process, was it more the coaches that attracted you to Florida State, or what Florida State's done and kind of tradition?
Coaches and just Florida State, you know, growing up, this is a dream school for a lot of people. Where I'm from, I mean, like, everybody, this is like, I don't know, like the Alabama for a lot of people where I'm from, like, and like for me to be coming here, like, it's a surreal moment, like, probably the first out of my city to ever do it. So like, I don't know, it's a little different feeling. Blessing.
It's a blessing, but do you also feel like, is that pushing you harder at this point, or
Yes,
do you
sir.
feel like you've arrived?
Yes, sir. I feel like it's pushing me harder. I'm one step closer to my goal.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Deamontae.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.